All right, hello everyone, it's Silverkyle, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Uncanny X-Men Volume 4 with Chris Claremont and John Romita Jr. Joining the fray. I really like John Romita Jr. in terms of his Spider-Man. That's what I grew up with, so I also like his Thor as well. His X-Men stuff is, to me, where he was kind of starting to create his own style, and it wasn't exactly my favorite. I don't know necessarily if everyone else really likes his work. But I mean, I still like it, but it's not the same feelings that I get when I look at his Spider-Man or his Thor work. But a lot of nice covers here. Not really digging this this cover. I would much prefer the direct market variant, which was this issue right here. I mean, it not only is it, you know, from that era, so it's the actual cover from the material, but it's a nicer cover. I think that would also have been a nice cover. And that one right there. Those, to me, kind of stand out a lot more, whereas this one's just not really doing anything for me. Maybe some people really like that work, but I don't. So anyway, this collects the Uncanny X-Men 176 to 193, the X-Men Annual 8, Kitty Pryde and Wolverine 1 to 6, X-Men and the Alpha Flight 1 2, and Marvel Fanfare 40. It's a little bit of a smaller book, just to compare the Volume 3 book, which is about 1,000 pages. This is 848. So I'll show you just the spines here, and you can kind of see the difference just from looking at it like that. A lot thicker on this one. Let's take it out. I have stretched this book twice, so we will be looking at the binding from stretching it out twice. And strangely, for a book that's 850 pages, well, 848, and a Marvel book, I feel like I might have to stretch this out a little bit more. But we'll take a look at that. Nothing too fancy, obviously, with this classic stuff. But yeah, I'm surprised. Like, okay, the book right, like, it's not falling down. Bookends, obviously. I don't expect a lot from there. Would have been a perfect cover. I'm telling you. That one would have worked too. People that made this possible. Table of contents, which I always love. Yeah, the 80s. Yeah, no, I was 2 years old by the time that this run was done, so guaranteed I wasn't collecting any comics back then. Forward by Chris Claremont from 2016. And then we get into it. Nice cover. That's a nice cover too. And I still like the art. This is still nice to me. I can still appreciate it. But it's not a stiff book. When I was kind of stretching it out a little bit, like the regular stretching out that I normally do, and I mean we're a few pages in and it is staying open. This is not like a DC book like the one that I did yesterday, Superman, until I finally stretched it out properly. This was just a normal stretching on both sides twice, and it stays open. You know, I'm having to push it down a little bit just to kind of alleviate from that bump. We are getting a little bit of gutter loss, but with these older books, you always have that white in the middle, so it's not too bad other than those two-page spreads, which there are a few in here. I did see some. But there's not a big eye, which I'll show you in a bit. And I mean, you can still kind of hear the glue as I'm pressing it down, which is not a bad thing. It scares the heck out of me every time I hear that, but I know that it's not a bad thing. Yeah, no, I still like this artwork. I kind of go back on what I said. I still think I prefer his Spider-Man work, but this is still nice. I'm very glad that they're continuing on with this. I say don't be afraid, and then I'm like freaking out as it happens. So 150 pages in. Just wanted to kind of go. So what I think I'll do is I'll show you the spine, and then or like the binding of the book, and then we'll kind of go and stretch it out a little bit more. I didn't think I'd have to do this for a Marvel book, but here we are. That's about the middle, a little bit more maybe. That should be close to the middle right there. And I'll show you that there is hardly any eye. That looks like a DC book. It is sewn binding. Yeah, it must be the glue that's weighing it down for some reason. What the heck? Marvel, this is not what you do. But it does, when I was going through it, like I said, it kind of stays open. It's not nearly as tight as a DC book. The pages aren't super glossy. It's all right. Thickness is all right. All right, let's just quickly show the extras near the end. And then quite a few extras, actually. And then I need to go on the other side. And then I'll stretch it out a little bit more and we can see if we can get a nicer eye. Okay, I just want to show a few pages here. This stuff's always nice. I like seeing that. These are the kind of extras that I like. Oh, wow. That's nice. That's cool. Oh, that one. There's a splash page near the end. Bit of gutter loss. All right, so let's stretch it out once again, just to kind of show you what the eye looks like. It's barely there. I'm going to stretch this out. We'll be right back. And we're back, and I've stretched it out maybe 5 minutes. This was much easier than a DC book. Most DC books, if I'm stretching it out the proper way, like the much longer way, it takes, well, first of all. But yeah, a DC book would normally take maybe 15 minutes or so. This was about 5 minutes, and I could feel that I barely had to do much stretching. So, I mean, this was kind of like the same as it was in terms of how it was opening, because it did a pretty good job with that to begin with. Let's go and show you somewhere in the middle. A little bit further. About right there. I'll show you the eye, which now exists. Look at that. And same thing near the end of the book. It exists, and the beginning of the book. I'd say that it's not the best eye that we've ever had from Marvel, but it's leaps and bounds above DC. So I will be posting that video, probably not tomorrow, but Friday. That's my goal, is to show you how to properly that I learned from somebody else, and I will be crediting that person as well. How I stretch my omnibus now if I feel that they're a little bit too tight, and this worked beautifully on this one, and it really helps with DC as well. I mean, that's generally where you're going to have to do it. I think I would have been fine with this just reading it over, but stretching it out for an extra 5 minutes doing this specific way really helped out a lot. So thank you all for watching. That's the Uncanny X-Men Volume 4. Thank you all for watching. You've been bearded in Beardage.